right, so I'm going to put this in my next video, whatever that may be. But look at this. Okay, so here's the Annex Solar PS400 portable solar panel, which I did a video on hyperinflation, which I was recommending that everybody get, prepared for some hard times ahead. But look at this. So that box came in that box. And of course, here's the second solar panel, which is a box within a box. Why the hell do they feel like they got to put a box within a box? The world has gone batshit crazy. Oh yeah, getting back to the solar generator at the beginning of the video, one of the things you notice on those panels, they only come with a 2-year warranty. Now, why in the hell does a solar panel only come with a 2-year warranty? That's got me awful worried. It seems to me that a solar panel, all it does is sit and, gather the sunlight and turn it into electricity. I mean, are those components going to wear out in 2 years? I mean, after 2 years? Seems to me you should have like at least a 5-year warranty. So I don't know if this Anchor thing was a good idea. Maybe you want to go with a different name brand. But the fact that they only give you a 2-year warranty, I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Watching the world burn, watching the world burn. January 6th, 2026. Man, have we got a lot to talk about. Holy moly. What'd you think of that clip up front? That was a propaganda video that Iran put out. They were basically signaling to the United States what they're going to do when Trump attacks. And I say when, I do believe he's going to be fool enough to do it. He's got to be getting bad information. But one theory I've got, I've always promoted Redacted's channel because they get off, and we're going to talk about a couple of their videos, but I like how they get off on wild tangents. And one of the things they've talked about is that we've, back, what do you call it when you look at alien technology and reverse engineer? We reverse engineered alien technology, and they're saying that we've got anti-gravity ships and, laser weapons or plasma weapons or who knows. Of course, Trump used a discombobulator in Venezuela. So my theory would be that maybe we've got some weapons that Iran is not expecting. Because if we're just going to hit them with Tomahawk missiles and try to hit them, because, you can't really fly into Iranian airspace anymore. The Russians and the Chinese have really beefed up the air defenses in Iran. And even our stealth technology is not going to go in very well. But, before we get into all of that, when did Congress declare war? I don't remember that, do you? Now, they probably would. You got the Lady Lindsey Graham and the General Keane and everybody, they are chomping at the bit to get the United States into another war. Oh, man. But then if you watch, and don't listen to me, watch Colonel McGregor or Daniel Davis deep dive, and they're talking about the fact that Iran has literally thousands of missiles. And they're saying this time they're not holding back. And we'll get into a post here in just a minute about, how sophisticated their technology is. During the 12-day war back in June, they pounded the shit out of Israel. In fact, a lot of YouTube channels say that Israel called up Trump and said, you need to put an end to this because we're taking too much damage. Now, have we seen videos on all of that? Kind of. I've seen a couple of videos that may have been satellite that showed some real damage to Israel. And I can't believe they're going to go along with Trump pounding them again because, and then let's look at the U.S. weapons. So the planes can't get in there. So they're going to have to launch standoff bombs or glide bombs. Those can only go so far. And they've got some bombs that might go in about 500 miles. Now, the carrier fleet is sitting, what I understand, about 1,000 miles away because they're thinking that's the distance that the Iranian missiles can go. But you got to remember, Iran has submarines. And I imagine they've built some submarine drones by now. Hey, speaking of drones, I want to get off on a tangent real quick. China just debuted a high-flying, high-altitude stealth drone. Looks badass, man. I think I might have a video on that. If I do, I'll put it here, but if not, I just wanted to tell you about it. And there's no specs on it. I mean, maybe the federal government has specs on it, but you could see how weaponry around the world is just advancing very, very rapidly. And speaking of getting back to Iran, now you know they got hypersonic missiles. And we're going to get into a post about that. Yeah, that's the capture. Actually, let's talk about the capture of Maduro, because this kind of relates to Iran to a certain degree. Because I thought, you know, if you watch that general, he kind of gave a detailed description, but this is better. This is by the Kanthan. Some info on the Hollywood-like capture of Maduro. It involved 150 aircraft launched from 20 different land and sea bases. First, the U.S. launched a cyber attack to shut down the electricity in Caracas. Fighter jets then evaded detection and bombed strategic places. Now, if you recall, also, we had launched an internal strike on Iran. Israel had put a lot of drones in there, just like we did in Russia. And so they took out a lot of the radar systems and back then they didn't have the Russian and the Chinese, they just had their own, because they were trying not to get too aligned with Russia and China. That's over with now. but anyway, so we caught them off guard. And so for about the first 10 to 12 hours, we were able to bomb at will on Iran. This was back during the 12-day war. But let's get back to Maduro. All right, sorry, I got off on a tangent there. 80 Army commandos from numerous helicopters landed and started the operation at 2 a.m. After an intense firefight with Mr. Maduro's Cuban security detail, the soldiers blew open a door leading to Mr. Maduro's bedroom, where they seized him and his wife, and they were trying to escape into a steel reinforced, because they were trying to escape into a steel reinforced room. So there's a little bit more information I have on that raid. People have pointed out it probably wasn't all about just the capture of Maduro. We have some evidence that the Venezuelan voting machines have been, you know, handing the Democrats the elections. So I imagine Trump was probably looking for evidence to that regard. And then, of course, I'm sure they grabbed all the hard drives and the intel and the laptops and everything they could get their hands on, but they were on the ground such a brief period of time. I wonder how much intel they were able to grab. So who knows? But I just thought that was a very interesting post. So let's get into how sophisticated the Iranian missile technology is. This was an excellent post by Sprinter Press. If you ever want to follow them, or Sprinter Press on X. So when a missile is launched from Iran, how many obstacles does it face on its way to Israel? And I was like, oh yeah, you know, but I find something really good. American military ships in the Persian Gulf, number one. Israeli radars in Azerbaijan. Israeli radars in Turkestan. Air defense systems of air bases in Iraq. Air defenses of American base in Syria. American radars in Saudi Arabia. Radars in Qatar, radars in Iraq, radars in Kuwait, radars in the UAE, radars in Bahrain, British radar in Oman, NATO radars in Turkey. Before I walk into a tree here. Jordan air defense, American fighter jets in the skies over Jordan, American fighter jets in the skies over Israel, British fighter jets in the skies over Jordan, British fighter jets in Israel, French fighter jets in the sky over Jordan, French fighter jets in the sky over Israel, air defense of American ships in the Red Sea, American ships in the Mediterranean Sea, British air bases in the region after entering Israeli airspace, ultra-modern U.S. TPY-2 radar, ultra-modern U.S. THAAD missile defense system. He didn't mention the Patriot system. Israeli Arrow 1 and 2 missile defense system. David Sling and the Iron Dome. And yet Iran, through all of that, was able to hit Israel so hard that Israel cried, uncle. That was in the 12-day war. This next one ain't going to be like that. And this time they're going to shut down the Straits of Hormuz. Now, you say, well, it doesn't affect us. We're oil independent. Well, that's still going to shoot oil prices up all around the world. And remember, those oil prices, unless we cap it at a certain price, they're based on the global system. You could see $6 a gallon. I remember back, I bet a buddy of mine that we were going to $6 a gallon. Boy, was I wrong. It was kind of like, let's get on to precious metals for just 1 minute. You know, silver's bumping back up around 80. It was 79, you know, so it's kind of getting up there. You still got the arbitrage between us and Shanghai. I didn't get the arbitrage for you. Gold's hovering right around 5,000, so it's come back. I didn't get the platinum price, but I imagine it's still about the same. Now the stock market's up, good Lord, 1,000 points today. So if you held on to your stocks, you probably did all right. Hopefully you didn't sell when they went down. Now it might be a good time to sell. I mean, because I don't think, if we go to war with Iran, I don't think the stock market's going to do too well, which it looks like Trump's going to do. I tell you what, when I elected Trump, I thought we were going to do America first. But I'm going to tell you what, the Trump administration is the most non-American first administration I've ever seen. They're worse than the Biden administration. I mean, they are all about Israel. Anything that Israel wants, which Netanyahu, I think he's still pushing for the war, even though it's going to destroy Israel, unless we got some super weapons. Like I said, maybe we got that alien technology, right? You know, could be. If you ever watch Redacted, I'm telling you, I always watch Redacted and I say, man, that sounds like it's plausible to me, you know, because I guess I keep a real open mind about these things. Is there anything else I wanted to say about precious metals? Oh, yeah. So a buddy of mine, he bought PSLV. I imagine he hasn't made any money, but he hasn't lost any money because he bought it down around what the price is right now. I'm just giving you spot silver, not the price of PSLV. PSLV is hovering around 28 or so, somewhere around in there for the shares of the Sprott ETF. And but you got to remember the fundamentals. And so I wanted to tell you a story. Back in, I want to say it was 2000. That was my first big purchase of silver. And remember, that's 26 years ago. So I've been sitting on silver for 26 damn years, you know, waiting for the moment when I could sell some of it. Because I told you, until that ratio gets to be about 40 to 1 with gold, I'm going to be holding on, at least to my physical silver. Of course, I'll be selling, I did sell some PSLV up at the height. Now I made, I'm not perfect, man. I made one bad purchase. I bought physical silver. By the way, you can get the spot silver right now, the 90% silver, or they call it junk silver. I don't know why they call it junk, other than the fact it has to be redone because 10% of the metal is not silver. But anyway, you can still get that for $1 under spot. And so I pulled the trigger at when silver was at, what was it? I can't remember. But so I ended up paying $800 some for a purchase of spot silver. And of course, when it dropped down to 73, just to give you an example of how bad a purchase that was, I picked it up. When silver hit 73, I bought some more physical junk silver, just one tube. I can't afford much, but it was about $550. So look at that difference in the price. My God, I guess I got into what do they call it? They FOMO, you know, it's going to keep going higher. I got all excited and pulled the trigger way too high. Shouldn't have done that, but oh well, can't be perfect about everything. Hey, a quick story. I always like to make fun of myself. So I bought some lids for my Yeti cups, and I didn't know they come in multiple sizes, and I bought 2 small lids. And so I put in a return on those because I had to order the right size lid. And so you can go to Amazon and you print off that smart code. So I printed it off on my printer. And so today, to hike this trail, UPS is kind of on my way, but it's really inconvenient to get there, especially around here because everything's booming so much. The traffic's gotten really bad. So anyway, I get to UPS. They can't scan the code, the printer in certain places on that smart code. And then I use an Outlook email address for Amazon. So I got Gmail on my phone, so I couldn't find the on the phone. So they're only $8 lids. I said, nah. I said, why don't I just leave the lids here and I'll send you a fax? Now get this, UPS wanted $1.80 for me to send a fax, and the lids were only $8 damn. I said, look, man, I'm just leaving the lids here. Give them to somebody, man. You know, I mean, it just ain't worth my time for $8 lids to come back here and print another smart code. But I tell you what, I do take an action item. I'm going to move Amazon over to Gmail for future purchases, because at this point I don't care what Amazon or what Google does, because they monitor all your email and give it to NSA. I don't care if they know what I buy anymore. By the way, I mean, you know, there's nothing left, there's no prepping for me left to do. I have a year's supply of food or more. You know, all I got to do is add hot water, so food's taken care of. As long as they don't knock the water out with a nuclear bomb, I got water. And even then I can pump the water with a backpack filter that actually filters out radioactive particles. So now I tell you what, that's a lot of work to get your water, but you know, at least you could do that. I probably have to dig an outhouse outside, because I'm going to tell you, you wouldn't want to, unless you got access to a pond or something and scoop buckets of water, it ain't going to be worth trying to get that water into the toilet. Plus, I imagine those sewage pipes are going to stop up, so you know, you don't want to be flushing it down that toilet. So yeah, I just dig you a hole out in the yard, and I got some wood I could put around it. I'm just throwing stuff out. I know I'm going off on a stupid tangent. So all right, oh yeah, hit that like button and subscribe. I always forget to tell you that. What else do we, oh yeah, let's talk about the Ukraine war just 1 second. Now, if you didn't know, Elon Musk cut off the Starlink, and I guess I'm hearing, this is unbelievable to me, that Russia and Ukraine was using Starlink. Now, what Elon did was you have to register to be able to use your Starlink terminal. So I imagine they gathered up all the information for the Ukrainian terminals and registered them all, and the Russians, who evidently were using Starlink, they can't use it no more because, you know, they're not they're not going to accept Russian registration of the terminals. Oh yeah, there's and by the way, I'll be mixing some videos in here. I didn't take good notes today. I didn't know that I was going to get out for a hike. I've been cooped up in the house for, good Lord, 2 weeks, man. I mean, the weather, if anybody came down for a vacation 2 weeks ago, I'm going to tell you what, they might as well have just stayed home. The weather's just been horrendous. You know, even on the days when the temperatures got up into the 50s, the wind was blowing so damn hard, I had to go out, you know, a couple times and get some stuff done in the yard. It was bad, man. So this is the first day I've been able to get out. Even today, it's in the 60s, but I tell you what, that feels mighty good right now. I'm sweating just a little bit with this jacket on. But I wanted to get into another redacted episode. One of the things that I have been struggling with is the desire for pedophilia and Satanism. You know, those are just such alien concepts to me that I just couldn't. I imagine if you're a God-fearing Christian who cares about kids, I imagine you've been having difficulty wrapping your head around that. Because it seems like our entire political class are all Satanists and pedophiles, especially with the drop of the Epstein files. And it's a worldwide cabal. The European leaders, many of those are satanic and pedophiles. And so I've been struggling to understand why in the world anybody would get into that sort of thing. So there was an episode, and I encourage you to watch it. I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. And a guy came on, he's been studying, open your mind, multi-dimension beings, or he called it the lower frequency. And evidently they feed this alternate realm, or if you want to call it that, they feed off of terror, they feed off of war, they feed off of pedophiles, especially any child that hasn't reached puberty. That's really like, really feeds them really well. And I imagine if you want to think about it, these people that are pedophiles, they get rewarded with, of course they're never prosecuted. A deep state Pam Blondie in the Trump administration, they're not going to put anybody, no elite goes to jail anywhere in the world. A lot of Trump supporters have been upset about that. Not one Democrat has been arrested. Nobody's gone to jail. It's zero. And that's a real sore point for the MAGA, well, some of the MAGA base. Some of the MAGA base just support Trump no matter what. Some of the MAGA base want war with Iran, which doesn't make sense because it's going to hurt them financially, immensely. And especially if thousands upon thousands of American soldiers die. But they seem all for that, man. They're all for it. I don't get it. And I'm just talking about the MAGA base, all Democrats. You know a Democrat? They're a pedophile. They're a satanic. All right? Just telling you that. Most Democrats, now, and also, okay, I'll admit a lot of Republicans are too, especially the rhinos in Congress. A lot of them are pedophiles now. We know that from the Epstein files. The whole royal class in Great Britain are satanic pedophiles. I imagine Macron and, the leaders in Germany. I mean, it just seems like the whole damn elite structure, rules for thee, but not for me. So our whole elite class, they have their own set of rules. And the other thing that worries me a bit, they're probably pretty prepared for World War III. I imagine a lot of them have bunkers. They're ready. They think they can ride it out. And, they don't care nothing about you and me. So just hold on to your jockstraps there. But anyway, getting back to the video. So he talked about how this alternate dimension, and he did you got to watch the video because it explains it much better than I'm him here. But they feed off of that. And also, I didn't understand this, was I guess when you terrorize a child before puberty and you drink their blood, it's got an elixir in it, if you can imagine that. I guess it's just like, it's even better than alcohol, probably better than heroin. And so that it gets them addicted to that, and cannibalism also. I forgot to mention cannibalism because a lot of the elite are cannibals. So that's, that's why they terrorize the kids so that they can draw their blood. And they don't care if they die eventually, but I guess it really, really gets them high when they do that, these pedophiles. The other thing is, raping young girls, the ones that have gone past puberty. I guess that gets them, because these beings, or whatever you want to call it, this alternate dimension, they make them, it gets them kind of all pumped up. Imagine, if you ran 10 miles, how you get those endorphins flowing, gives you a high, if you were ever a big jogger. So that kind of explained things to me about why so many Democrats and elite are pedophiles, Satanists, and cannibals. And by the way, on Redacted, I've seen the video now a bunch of times. There was a British, Mexican model, and she went to an elite party, and she came running out. She's good looking, by the way. And they got the video of her, and she was screaming on the streets. They're eating people. They're eating people. They're Satanists. They're eating people, And she was screaming it everywhere. And the police arrested her, and nobody ever saw her ever again. But she was pretty famous, and they disappeared her in a hurry. So, I'm not laughing at it. I think it's disgusting. So maybe that'll help explain things to you a little bit. And also, the guy was talking about how we survive all this. You know, left, right, middle, independent, whatever you are, you can't get down and allow yourself to be taken in by the lies, okay? One of the things that they do is they play us against each other. And I'm gonna tell you what, I've seen some left-wing people that I used to just despise. Now I'm liking them. The Young Turks, for example, they've been putting Anna, I tell you what, she's come around. I actually watch her now, and she's as left as they come. Who else? Jimmy Dore. I'm watching him more and more. So you wouldn't believe that we have more in common with, you know, the right and the left have a lot in common. We just got to team up and get these pedophiles or the elite out of office. But, you know, it's gonna get wild. I mean, the dollar is going down. I forgot to mention de-dollarization. Yeah. The end of the Keynesian paper promise. I hope you're getting prepared as best you can. I made a whole video. I encourage you to go back and watch it on the dollar dying. And by the way, I guess I'll go ahead and put my song at the end of this video. I'll probably think of some things. I got to turn around. I tell you what, when you haven't exercised for 2 weeks, you know, I'm hurting, baby. I mean, and I'm not even on my way back yet. But as I think of things on the way back, we'll add to it. But at the end of this, I'm putting the song, Trump Don't Care. Trump don't, oh yeah, all right. I forgot one thing that I wanted to talk about. All right, so we've talked about the bad, that Trump's a warmongering maniac that's gonna get us into World War III, you know, still pumping weapons and cash into Ukraine. Is gonna go to war with Iraq, you know, was war with Venezuela, threatened war on Greenland. I mean, you know, this guy wants to go to war with the whole damn world. By the way, we're sending a huge weapons package to Taiwan. So China is really pissed about that. And the START treaty, Trump nixed that. So now we're in a nuclear arms race with China and Russia. I'm gonna go ahead and cut over right here. Get on the Florida Trail. I really want to keep going. You know, when I get out here, I really want to keep going, but I don't want to do too much since I haven't been out for 2 weeks. Be nothing worse than having to crawl back to the car. That would suck big time. But I wanted to talk about the good things that Trump is doing real quick before we end the video. So a lot of, well, you knew that we just swooped in, Tulsi Gabbard did, and raided Fulton County. And I imagine they probably got some evidence that there was election fraud that took place in 2020. And some people hopefully are going to go to jail there, because anybody that's not elite can be arrested. Oh yeah, they just got the guy that led the Benghazi raid. They got him and arrested him. They were making a big deal about that. You know, well, I guess that's good. He was flowing into the United States. Somebody got him over there in Libya. But sorry, I got off on a tangent. Where was I? Oh, there's good things Trump's doing. The whole Somali thing, now it didn't work out because of the way ICE was handling it. He pulled the ICE out, but he's still arresting a lot of illegal criminals around the United States, and that's really good. I'm glad to hear that. There is a possibility, I mean, John Thune, a rhino or a Democrat, he won't bring to a vote in the Senate the SAVE Act, but there is a lot of scuttlebutt that maybe that SAVE Act, it might get a vote here in the next month or so, at least before the next election. Now, I don't know if it certainly won't pass because all the Democrats will vote against it because they got to be able to cheat in the elections. But I don't know. They're saying that, and of course, if they did away with the filibuster, we could get that through. But Trump is supporting the SAVE Act, so he wants a fair election, and that's a good thing. What else has Trump done? Well, you know, of course, he cleaned up. We already talked about Washington, D.C., and So around the country, he's done some good things. And he's certainly freed up our energy industry. I don't know if you saw gas prices. Well, until we bomb Iran, right now they're $2.70 something. I mean, that's unbelievable how low that is. I'm sure I'll think of some other good things that Trump has done. But I had to talk about the good things before I put the song here. Trump, don't care. Peace out. Stay free. Oh, I forgot one more good thing that Trump has done. And this is why I say that most Democrats are pedophiles. Because back when Biden was shipping children into the country and giving them to the gangs to take them into rape houses, 350,000. Did your Democrat neighbor say a peep about the fact that Biden brought in 350,000 kids and distributed them to pedophiles all around the country? Oh, hell no. They're all for it, man. They don't care. They don't care. Democrats don't care. Oh, this is a railroad track. Isn't that cool? I've only seen there was a video a while back. We actually got a video of a train on this train track. I've always tried to walk these train tracks, but it's too damn difficult. I'm too uncoordinated now that I don't have any feeling in my hands and feet since I broke my neck. But so that's why I say most Democrats are pedophiles, because they were all for the distribution of 350,000 kids around the United States to pedophiles and addresses that didn't exist. Who knows where they went? Well, this is why I said Trump's doing good. Tom Homan, I don't know how many it is. It's right many. I think he's found about 70,000 of those kids, and they've rescued them out of these pedophile houses, these Democrat pedophile houses. And so that's really good. So that means to me that Trump, unlike a Democrat, is not a pedophile. Otherwise, he wouldn't be rescuing all these kids. So that's a good thing. You know? So if I think of something else, we'll like I said, we'll just tack it on to the end of the video. But anyway, I'm just trying to be balanced somewhat with the video. Oh, I wanted to talk about the attack that we did on Iran. Now, if you listen to the news, they say that Iran killed all their protesters and everything like that. Well, if you watch the Treasury Secretary, God dang it, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He came out and he said that we crashed the Iranian currency. And by the way, this guy used to work for George Soros, and he was part of the operation to crash the British pound. And he's Trump's Treasury Secretary. So evidently, the people are saying he's not good at finance, but he's good at crashing currencies. So that was that's an act of war, man, on Iran. And that's what the protests were about, but the protests weren't violent. And then the Mossad and CIA and a bunch of paid terrorists, they launched them in with Starlink into Iran, had killed, from what I understand, last number I heard, 10,000 people died in that operation. That's another act of war. Now, a lot of them, you know, Iran was able to shut down Starlink, and evidently they captured a lot of these people, and they were hanging them. Of course, then Trump came out and said, don't hang them. Now, I'm not sure how effective that was. Trump said they stopped hanging people, but I don't know. But these terrorists, I mean, they were literally terrorists. They burnt down churches. They chopped heads off. Over 300 police officers were shot and killed. I mean, it was like a war zone throughout Iran. And if they hadn't shut down Starlink, that could have turned into a regime change operation. But look at what the Trump administration and America is willing to do. We're willing to kill 10,000 people just to try to get a regime change in Iran. That just doesn't seem like a good thing to me. Does it to you? I mean, let the damn Iranian people choose their own leadership. Oh, they fund terrorists all around the world. How many people in the United States have been killed by Iranians? Hardly any that I know of. How many Iranians have we killed? 500,000 in Iraq. We gave the Iraqis chemical weapons so that they could murder Iran in that war. We just launched an operation and killed 10,000 more Iranians. we launched a surprise attack and took out their leadership. You know, my God, I'm surprised that Iran hasn't launched they preemptively. Tell you what, man, these nations like Russia and Iran, I don't know if I talked about Russia. I think I did. I told you that with the Starlink, I don't think I mentioned the front lines. The front lines haven't moved in the last couple of days, which is unusual because Russia was really marching forward. Now, that could be because of the weather, or it could be because of the Starlink going down. I tell you what, I want to go over there and look at that at some point. I'm too tired right now. But boy, that's a hell of a nice facility for soccer. They did a good job. All right, if I think something else, we'll keep getting it on the way back. Oh, I forgot about the other thing that's good in the Trump administration. The Make America Healthy Again movement. You know, because the Democrats, you know, they did vaccine mandates. They tried to kill as many people as they could. But I tell you what, Robert Kennedy, is it Junior? Anyway, he's doing a great job, man. And Dr. Oz is out there doing his thing. Both of them are shining stars, in my opinion. And we've changed the food pyramid, and we changed the. It's up to parents. They could still get all the vaccines they want, but they took a lot of the vaccines off the mandatory list for children. You know, like, what child do you know that has hepatitis unless his mother had hepatitis, you know? Why would a child, unless you're a pedophile, I guess you could rape that kid, but, you know, why would a child need the hepatitis vaccine? I'm just giving you one example, you know. So, I mean, he's doing some really great things, and they've cleaned up a lot of, you know, I mean, you know, I still wish Fauci could go to jail, that little short troll, evil son of a bitch. But anyway, like I said, he's elite. They're not going to do anything with Fauci. Killed over 1 million people. And he's still not going to face any sort of prosecution, even under the Trump administration. So like I said, good and bad, good and bad. Oh yeah, you probably already know this, but I'll just throw it out there, getting back to Ukraine for just 1 second. If you didn't know, Russia's been launching some major missile attacks, and they've taken out most of the energy grid in Ukraine. Over 1 million people have left Kiev, the capital, because they have no power. Can you imagine when it's 0 degrees outside and you've got no power? I mean, like Scott Ritter was pointing out, I mean, you know, when you think about it, those pipes in those apartment buildings are bursting right now. You know, so those apartment buildings, they're not livable anymore. They're going to have to tear those down and completely rebuild them. You know, so anybody that had an apartment, they got to get out of town. And where are they going to go? The whole country is just about without power. And I did want to just take my hat off, even though I think they're evil sons of guns in Ukraine, Nazis. But you got to admire their ability to stay in the war. I mean, man, you know, and also the Russians have been hitting their logistics. They've been hitting the trains and everything. But yet, they're still fighting the Russians, well, in the last couple of days to a standstill. I mean, those must be some tough people to fight in 0 degree temperatures. I mean, I imagine some of the troops have generators, but I'm going to tell you what, if you've ever been out on a cold weather exercise in the military, it's brutal, man. And they're out there day in and day out. I was only out sometimes for maybe 2 weeks in the cold. And it's, you know, it's tough getting up in the morning and getting out, and, you know, and of course they're fighting a war, and yet they managed to hold on somehow. But their logistics are getting worse and worse, and the whole country is just about without power. So we'll see. I just don't see how this thing's going to last much longer, but I've been saying that for 4 years. so we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, up front, I put the video on those solar panels. Did you see the packaging on those things? The box weighed so much, I had to struggle to get the damn box out to the recycle bin. But anyway, that's something that else you got to think about when the dollar devalues completely, is how you going to refrigerate your food, man. I mean, I've got that 7,000 watt solar generator with those two 400 watt solar panels. At least I can plug them in and recharge the the generator during the day, and I imagine I'll do pretty good. I mean, it's not going to be great, but I should be able to keep the food in the fridge cold. Now, in a real bad situation, how much food you're going to have in the refrigerator, I don't know. But I mean, at least, you know, you got to be able to, I mean, everything else, you know, you might not be able to have any heat, which would, if you live in the north, that's going to burst your pipes. You might not be able to have air conditioning or anything like that unless you got a whole house generator, solar generator. Because, you know, diesel generator, you're not going to be able to get that fuel. You know, a lot of people put those in. That works in normal times, but we're not heading for normal times. So, but you got to have at least a solution for your doggone refrigerator. Just saying. Oh, 2 more pieces of news I forgot about. I didn't know Marsha Blackburn, you know, the senator from Tennessee, she's running for the governor of Tennessee. I think I've always kind of liked her. I haven't seen anything extremely bad about her. You know, it's kind of like there was a lot of people that I really liked. I never really liked Ben Shapiro, but I wasn't totally against him. Now I can't stand that son of a gun. Just tell him to move to Israel and be done with it. Mark Levin, the same thing. I don't listen to either of them bastards no more. You know, I never really liked Mark Levin. I mean, he was okay. I thought he had some good things to say, but it was just the way he screamed about everything, and it would just get under my skin. I'd just be like, it wasn't a feel-good person to listen to, so I didn't do the much like Mark Levin. Sean Hannity, I used to watch occasionally, but like I said, he's just a parrot, and he's a tool of the deep state. So, you know, he just goes along to get along. He won't give you anything that's not in the script, so I can't really respect Sean Hannity. Other than the fact he's made a lot of money. I mean, and he does report on some things that the American people need to know about, which is good, especially the election. He did a good job there, so it's not all bad. But yeah, the Marsha Blackburn thing, what was the other one? God damn it, I hate putting this many clips in the video. There was one other thing, I'll get it here in a minute. Oh yeah, I remember there's 2 other things. There's a primary going on in New Jersey. And one of the candidates, she wants to abolish ICE. She wants to forgive all student loans. So she's going to be the new member of the squad. And guess who, if she wins, put her in office? Israel. Because guess what? The other Democrat in the primary said he may or may not support everything that Israel wants. And so they would rather put a member of the squad that hates the United States and is against everything that I stand for in office rather than have somebody who might vote against them. I tell you what, Israel rules this country, don't they? They put $2 million against him in that primary. Oh, damn it. There was one other thing. All right, I'll get it in a sec. This wasn't the next item, but I'm getting close to traffic, so I wanted to get this out of the way. I forgot to talk about, you know, every video I talk a little bit about the video studio, which I've been working on since September, I guess. And you're saying, my God, when are you going to finish that? Well, I mean, I keep running into obstacles. And so the most recent one was I installed, because I always install it first on my laptop, which is running Linux Mint 22.3. And if I get it working there and I get the steps down, because I'm writing a book about all of this, then I can apply that on the server. But there's a minimal set of applications that I want to work on the server that I have to get working on the laptop first. And so I tried to install the Brave browser, and it blew up. In fact, it blew up the whole damn laptop. I thought I was going to have to reinstall the operating system, which is not something I want to have to do on the server. So I asked Grok, I said, what are the steps in 22.3, you know, and how do they differ from 22.2? Well, they're a lot simpler. So I just wanted to, the only reason I'm throwing you this out is I'm telling you, Linux is getting better and better and better. The install process for the Brave browser in Linux Mint 22.2, I would say your average person wouldn't have been able to do it. It was just too crazy. you know, it had all these steps and everything, and I was like, damn, man, this is a lot, but I got it working, and I like the Brave browser, and it's good for certain things. And so I said, I got to have the Brave browser on the server. So when Grok gave me the steps for Linux Mint 22.3, it cut it down from, you know, 6-10 steps to 3 to install it. I mean, it's so simple, it's unbelievable. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that I continue to work day after day. And then, of course, the laptop, by the way, that's going to be my web server. And I used, just to tell you the dead ends, I used XAMPP. That didn't work out. And then Grok recommended DDev with Docker. You can look these up if you want, especially if you're a Linux or computer person. These are, I'll just briefly explain. These are two platforms where you can install multiple versions of Joomla, because the Joomla is the engine that I'm using for my website. You can experiment, you know. I don't need that. I just need one server running the latest version of everything, and that's it. And so finally, Grok gave me the steps to just set it up as just a local server, period, without all of the added baggage, using the Apache engine. And once I got all the steps down, it took me a couple of tries. It's so simple, it's unbelievable. And then all you do is you just go to localhost and you can log in and work on your website. And so eventually we'll get a website up here before too long. But I did want to give you the latest update on the server, because as I learn, you can learn. And then when the book comes out, be sure to buy it. How to build a video studio in Linux Mint 22.3, or the title will be something like that. Anyway, I wanted to get the birds on the video. This is what the traffic looks like now. When I was here years ago in 2017, you could drive right up to that stoplight and not even have a car. I think these are, we call them Florida chickens. But I don't know, the beak doesn't seem long enough to me. But they're cool looking. Let's zoom in on them. Oh, there you go. Wonder what those are. Anyway, let's keep going. I did have a funny story about Florida chickens. Yeah, I think that's beaks long enough. I think these are Florida chickens, because what they do is they peck down in the ground and get the grubs, and that's why they're called. I don't know what the real name is. I've always called them Florida chickens. But the funny story was, a guy decided on the golf course that he was going to feed these birds, and I've told this story in the past. And he held out his hand and he said, "Here you go, little birdie. Here you go." And that bird came up, and I think it was just a nut or something, and that beak went right through his hand. Because you think about it, it's got to go deep down into the ground. What the hell was that guy thinking about, you know? Anyway, I thought it was a funny story.
Rod is burning. The dollar's dying. No one cares.
Supporters burning symbols, screaming out his name. big corporate Pam Blondie in charge. Epstein files promise, but nothing at large. Client list vanished, no one's in chains. She prosecutes no one, just playing elite games. Hyped up the bombshells, then pulled the plug, protecting the pedos with a corporate shrug. Hats on the fire, smoke rising high. Former believers watching the red caps die. Epstein cover up the final straw, burning the emblem of what we fought for. We marched in the millions, we wore it with pride. Now it's fuel for the flames of the great divide. Trump don't care, Trump don't care, Trump don't care. He keeps breathing that warmongering neocon air. Go Boston 4300, silver 64 a Tina, platinum 1800. Prices exploding while the dollar disappears. DXY crash in mid-98s, Fiat and free fall fear, printing trillions for wars, but nothing for here. Bricks hoarding 663 tons in 9 months flat. 91 billion in gold while a dollar goes